Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and I'm also a doctoral student of psychology. Today, let's talk about signs we know an avoidant will come back because a lot of them do. Often, if an avoidant comes back, it is because the reason they left was because they deactivated or they felt overwhelmed and they realized that they still love you. Now, a lot of these things happen often because they're trying to get back with you, but some of the time it's because they're testing waters to see if you guys are still compatible or even more compatible than the first time, okay? So the very first one is that they keep communication open. This is a very important one. You might block them. I see that a lot when I'm working with individuals or couples who broke up or whatever it is and they come back together. Often what happens is the one who's anxious or fearful and the partner is dismissive or fearful, what happens is that person might block them because they're so afraid to text them and they won't respond or something like that. But what we see is the avoidant individual might leave it unblocked. They might still text you. They might still call you. They might respond relatively quickly, especially about personal topics, not just logistics. The reason this is happening is because they do want you in their life. They're just not sure when. And I'm not saying that's a good thing, but often it means they probably will come back. The next one is they actually show genuine curiosity and interest about your life. They ask you how you're doing, how you're feeling, your day, or they might even talk about things that you guys used to do together. This one's a really common one, right? They might talk about maybe you guys used to go to cooking classes together. That's the word. And they talk about, are you still going to cooking classes, right? They might ask you, hey, is your boss still bothering you? Let's say a coworker, Sally, has always been difficult. And you might say something, they might say something like, is Sally still bothering you, right? They're saying, I remember, I'm still here, I don't forget you, okay? The next one is they actually bring up memories you shared. Nostalgia is a very, very common aspect, and we see it all the time in relationships, right? They might emotionally revisit the relationship by doing so. They might remember those very comfortable, very fortunate, very loving feelings when they were less deactivated, right? They might say, do you remember that trip to Italy we went on, right? They might say something like, do you remember we always talked about buying a house together in Colorado? They might mention things like that. It might even be something even less obvious or insignificant to your perspective. They might say something like, do you remember last Thanksgiving, me and you made this together? Or do you remember how you taught me how to, grate cheese the right way? Something like that. Something very simple. I don't even know why that's on my mind. Anything, right? Something that you might not even remember, but they remember. And it's because, of course, they feel very connected and safe with you. And there's a part of them that they left. They might even regret that they left, but they're too afraid to show that vulnerability and admit that to you. Sometimes what can also happen, though, is they might feel like you guys were actually not compatible emotionally, but they loved you. I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but this is actually really common. I actually have a patient that's going through something like this right now, where let's just say the patient is a male. I'm going to give an example, okay? It's not the actual patient. He might have been in a relationship. Maybe it's a short-term relationship. It's only been like 3 months, and he feels like it shouldn't be this invested or emotionally heavy right away. Maybe she's pushing him for commitment, or maybe she's saying, can I meet your family, or can we do this on the holidays, whatever it is. And he's like, I'm not so sure if I'm ready for that. And so he's like, you know what, we're probably not on the same page, so I'm gonna break up. Or he's thinking about breaking up, or he left and he came back, whatever it is. And the reason it happened is because he's like, I don't know if I can give her what she wants, but I still love her. So that's why it's like, I should leave. He thinks that's the right thing to do, but he loves her, so he keeps coming back. That's what happens. It's not healthy. But the other one that can happen is they haven't fully moved on. You might see that this person is not dating seriously, or they're not even dating at all. And they might never date for a long time. Sometimes they don't date ever. That's a little bit different. We might talk about that another time, where they just never date again. But often avoidance, if they're wanting to come back or they really want to reconnect, they are not dating very seriously at all, right? The next one is actually a very good sign. If this is happening, it's a really great opportunity for you guys to revisit the relationship if you want to, okay? They show remorse and acknowledge their mistakes. This is one of the biggest and most significant ways that you know that your partner actually has changed and is going to try for this relationship. Taking accountability really does suggest that this individual is reflecting, right? For whatever reason. Usually it's because they want a second chance. Reflecting comes in a couple different ways, okay? They reflect so that they don't make this mistake again in their future. They reflect because they never want to feel the pain of losing you. But Sometimes it's they reflect because they want to prove to you they can win you back. Okay. And so if this is the case and they are reflecting and they are communicating that they have changed, it might be a good opportunity to open the door and give it another shot. Okay. The next one is they check in during important moments. Avoidants, actually, interesting enough, they do this because it's kind of like an excuse to talk to you. And not all of them do this because some of them might not perceive important moments as significant, but some of them do. They might text you on your birthday. They might wish you happy Thanksgiving, right? They might mention, maybe they saw, I don't know, a picture of you on social media doing something with your boss or whatever, and they might say, did you get that promotion, right? Anniversaries, they might mention, hey, just letting you know, if we were still together, this would be our anniversary. I mean, I've seen that. I know it sounds really strange and a little bit like jarring to some extent because it doesn't make sense to you, but some avoidants do that. Because some avoidants, which is kind of strange, and I don't think this is healthy at all, some of them believe that you guys are still like, it's very unhealthy. They don't fully accept the breakup, which is why they do that. Like, they know that you guys are broken up, but they also think it's not like permanent. And so they bring up those events that you guys would have together to kind of revisit, almost reinvent the relationship, so the future you guys can be together and you don't have to really consider the gap that you had. It's very much not healthy. I don't even know if I explained it correctly, but that is a reason why sometimes they do that. It's much more common if they are much more emotionally distorted, like they have personality disorders or they have a lot of trauma. That will be a little bit more common, whereas it's hard for them to accept the reality, but I do see it. Okay. The next one is they try to keep physical connection. So this will mean if they're suggesting meeting up with you, seeing you in person. If they're fearful avoidant or some dismissive avoidance, they may still maintain physical connection, like you guys are still hooking up. You might see that. The next one is they might mirror your emotions. When you're upset, they might also get upset. They might also get concerned. If you're happy, they start warming up and being a little bit more happy as well. The next one is they actually improve things that you used to argue about. This one is really significant, okay? Let's say you were upset that they were in between jobs and now they got that full-time job. It's a major sign, a very huge sign that they want to get back together and they want to fix the issues that contributed to the breakup. If this is happening, it's a good idea to have a conversation if you want to get back together, okay? The next one is that they say that they need time, not distance. So I'm going to give an example. If they say, I'm done, I don't want to do this anymore, or they say, I just need time, I'm confused, I don't know how to feel. The confusion, I don't know how to feel, that usually means that there is something. They're conflicted. I actually had another patient earlier, it was last week, that had a similar situation to this, but later found out now that these patients are in fact going back, right? Because they were confused. They weren't done. They just need time to process, okay? So let's go ahead and go over some of the 10 signs. Summarize that an avoidant might come back. They can keep communication open. They show genuine curiosity. They bring up memories. They haven't fully moved on. They show remorse. They check in during important moments. They try to keep a physical connection. They mirror your emotions. They improve things that you guys argued about. And they say they need time. Okay, I hope this video was helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.